Come Deliverance II is undoubtedly my game of the year, because it lets you commit multiple crimes, sweet talk your way out of punishment, and carry on like you have a moral compass. The game feels like an evolving masterpiece from its lush open-world realism and characters so charming you forget most of them are covered in blood, sweat, and piss. It may already have some solid competition, like the groundbreaking and highly rated Mind's Eye, but even so, I hope to at least see KCD2 in the cards for a Game of the Year nomination. A few months after launch, Warhorse dropped the Brushes with Death DLC because nothing screams bonus content like the tortured artist trope. Let's get to it. We start our day galloping toward the mighty forest beneath Trotsky Castle because the map says go here and I lack the bone density in my spine to question authority in 15th century Bohemia. I dismount and find a man tied to a tree, but before I can even guess if this is some public display of BDSM, a cutscene takes over and Henry now appears from the front. I guess fast travel's redundant now because Henry can just teleport wherever he pleases. The tree hugger's name is Voiter, and he's balls deep in an argument with a painted skull. Nothing sus going on there at all. The skull talks to him like it's a Burger King crown whispering racial slurs into the ears of a guy getting banned from flying JetBlue. I step on a twig, and Voiter spots me the way a street beggar watches me through the window at Macca's after I told him I don't have any spare change. I start untying him until a pack of wolves roll up thinking they've just found lunch for the day, mouths watering and all. They fail to rip through my plot armor because, like Walter White, I'm not in danger, I am the danger. We get to introductions and I ask the obvious questions, like how was he tied up to that tree and why was he talking to that skull like Willem Dafoe being tormented by a green goblin mask. Voiter tells me how he was nearly shot with an arrow by a couple of archery freaks grinding for some sweet XP on their aim stats. To calm him down, they offered to play a wholesome game of dice because nothing helps you shake off a near-death experience like a gambling session with the boys. Turns out they cheated harder than crypto bros during tax season, and Voiter called them out for it. They clubbed him, stole his dice and paintbrushes, then tied him up as fresh meat for the wolves. These kids play dirtier than Jake Paul negotiating a boxing match against an older guy in orthopedic sneakers. They did leave him his clothes, however, which says more about their lack of taste than their morality. I mean, they really left behind that luscious gambeson drip, the kind of embroidery that would make anyone else at the Met Gala rethink their outfit choice. So, I set off to find these aspiring felons before they escalate to even worse crimes like arson or 1400s NFT scams. First up is the one they call Four-Leaf Clovis, which kinda sounds like a weed strain, but really it's just his name. I ask him about the whole beatdown and theft situation, so naturally Clovis denies it like Elon Musk trying to deny that very intentional salute. I do what any responsible adult would do and challenge him to a game of dice to win back another set of dice. I come prepared with 4 cautious cheaters dice and the moral compass of a loan shark in a housing crisis. Naturally, I wipe the table clean with him, claiming both the dice and his remaining dignity. That leaves us with his partner in crime, a man with arguably a much better name.
Who is this mate of yours?
That's Ura, but folk call him Hawkeye.
Ah, right. Because he's good with a bow, eh?
And if I didn't know any better, it sounds like they just dropped a Marvel reference there. To win back the paintbrushes, I've got to beat Hawkeye in an archery contest. The only problem is, I'm a modern hero who carries around a crossbow and emotional baggage. To add insult to injury, he won't lend me a bow either, so I return later with the proper weapon, ultimately beating him fair and square. I return the stuff to Voiter, and he rewards me with the exact same dice I just won for him and the chance to get my shield painted, which, let's be real, is the 1400s equivalent of clout chasing on Instagram. I go full influencer and pick the Fearless Ignatius design, and with this kind of flex I'll be turning more heads than an undressed bodybuilder in a room full of nuns. Next up, Voiter needs some painting inspiration, so I'm to go searching for the right pagan shrine. This leads me to run errands for an old woman with a memory so shot her grandkids are probably getting birthday money 3 times a year. We eventually find the right shrine, and Voiter claims the place is speaking to him. I go along with it because rejecting an aspiring painter with unchecked delusions can have horribly anti-Semitic repercussions. Next order of business, we need a basilisk egg. Not for any dark magic, of course, but just to make paint. How do you get a basilisk egg? Well, it's simple. You get a toad to sit on the egg of a big black cock. I mean, an egg laid by a black cockerel and brooded under the cold amphibian cheeks of a toad. No magic here, just basic science, like bloodletting and flat earth theory. Voida even demonstrates what a toad sounds like, so I know exactly what to listen out for. I eventually get the egg, all lubed up with toad juice, ready to birth the Mona Lisa's crackhead cousin and deliver it to the man himself. I ask if I can watch the egg hatch, and Voita lets me down with a hard no. He says the sexual tension between us would be too much of a distraction, but I suspect it's really because that basilisk just doesn't exist. You know what does exist, however? My supermodel girlfriend from Canada. Trust me, she's very much real, she just has a photo shoot in Canada right now. Turns out that the egg and shrine were part of a prayer or a curse against one of Voita's mortal enemies. Not a fellow painter, but a ruthless bandit named Burkhard. Voita wants to kill him, but let's be honest, the man was tied to a tree and talking to a skull. He's not exactly Geralt of Rivia, so once again I offer to handle the situation for him. I go through several attempts to find Burkhard in his own camp and repeatedly get butchered harder than that Game of Thrones ending.
No! I surrender! Don't try that! Mercy! I surrender! I surrender! You surrender!
I finally find Burkhard big chillin' off to the side like a boss in Black Myth Wukong who's waiting for me to stop eating shit every 5 seconds. Burkhard reckoned I'd be the right fit to join his gang, and being the better person, I hit him with a mature response. Something along the lines of Burkhard just dick in your mouth and challenged him to a 1v1. I beat him in about 10 seconds flat, which happens to be the same amount of time I last in the bedroom. His crew dips like a cancelled YouTuber after filming an apology video in front of a houseplant in an empty IKEA shelf. I return to Voita with the good news and figure he owes me some answers after being left with nothing but questions. His real name would be a good start because it's not actually Voita. What's the deal with the skull, and does he ever get freaky with Instead, he insists the castle walls are too thin and tells me to meet him in Kuttenberg so he can trauma dump on me in the peace and comfort of his own home. And that is where we'll pick up in another video. Big thanks for watching, and stick around for more KCD2 and any other games I ruin in the future.